call the meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Go ahead and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No audience introductions tonight. Before we do the approval of the agenda, we're going to add a couple of items. So if we can add item G, we'll do the classified negotiations.
Great, thank you.
Item H, student dress code. And then item I, what are we going to call this? Oh, I guess this is already in here, right? Yeah, you've got that for item F, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't have to add it. Anything else? Okay, nothing today.
I move that we approve the agenda with changes.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Oh, sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Delegation of visitors, we will also go past. Number 4, items of information for the board. We'll start with the superintendent report.
Sure, thank you. I don't know if any of you had a chance to Google the
I
place.
unfortunately did. Thank you
Yeah,
for that. That
so-
was not very nice.
We had not really had any of that before, but we've had a little bit around the school, just attracted to musty type situations. And we actually Vanessa got a dehumidifier put in the kindergarten yesterday at 4 p.m. She started it, and by this morning at 6 or so, it was already full.
Wow.
That was a 50-pint one, so
Wow.
which is pretty big, and just quite a bit of condensation in there, humidity in there. So we're hoping that, when we dry it out, that'll keep lessening the opportunity for those bugs to live. We've been vacuuming it up. Troy's been doing that, but there's not a lot that you can do. We can't exterminate them, et cetera, in there because they're not a threat to people. They don't really climb on people or animals. They're just around the books and by the rugs and stuff like that. So that was a first for us, but yeah, feel free to look those up a little bit.
Don't do it,
If
you
you know
guys.
something else that works well, let us know. We're all ears. But a little bit of illness, but other than that, pretty good. As you saw, 97% attendance rate so far. And, students have been pretty excited to get back to school overall. It's been nice. A lot of kids giving, highs to everybody and high fives, et cetera. We have some new classes that we're able to offer with some classes. The child development class is actually now with their curriculum with Western Oregon University, which is great. And we're also doing ASL for our students. We did that before when Jan Stapleton was here. And then we have a forestry wildlife class that we're going to be doing in the spring. And the metal shop's going to be on their own. And then also band was scheduled during the middle school elective wheel for the first time, or for the first thing in the morning. So we're able to have that going on. And then middle school arts, Mrs. Hanson is doing that in the morning as well.
Who's
And
teaching ASL?
so is Miss Crawford. She's doing that. Yeah, she'd taken that during college as well and in high school as well. And then newer staff continue to find the groove as we keep going through the new part of the school year. Some good things said about our school from many of the new staff. It was really great. Some of our new staff, our students, have been saying some really good things about them as well, which was very good to hear. We were able to share some of those with our staff, and I think made them feel good as well. And, some of them sharing that they felt really good to be being a part of our school after being part of some other places prior to this. And then our activities and athletics are already full swing. And don't forget, we have corn feed coming up this Thursday. We hope to see everybody there. We have open house as well that night, plus volleyball and football that evening. So we hope to see you all there.
All right, thank you. Move to elementary middle school report.
Yeah, so Christy's coming back from Wyoming today. And so, talked about the kindergarten class, a lot of new students. Of course, they had most of them were here for their 2-week Jumpstart program that they did. We have obviously some new students that came in with some other classes, but not as many obviously as we did with kindergarten because it's a whole new class, but also our preschool class then started, and then our new staff and variety of roles like I had talked about already. So academic dues beginning of this year, of the year assessments, I should say, have been completed already, which in the first 2 weeks, which is really great because we're able to get our baselines already done. And so we're already going into our instruction groups and making sure that we're differentiating that instruction. And then upcoming activities across the grade levels. Mrs. Hanson's high school class going to be hosting the elementary students for Pumpkin Days in October. And the Harvest Carnival is scheduled for Thursday, October 24th. There was discussion about doing it on the 31st because it does fall on a Thursday. But concern was that people wanted to make sure that they were able to do their trick-or-treating with their families that night. So opted to go ahead and do it on the 24th.
Do we have a football game on Halloween?
We do have a football game on Halloween. We got bumped to Halloween.
Stay like that?
Yeah, we had it scheduled for the 1st, and the
Right.
home team bumped us to the 31st.
We couldn't say no?
No,
That's sad.
that is sad. I agree with you. I have a little 6th grade daughter that I told her this was going to be her last year trick-or-treating, so I'd take her. So we'll have to figure it out. Then to get to Malala by 7.
What is Pumpkin Days?
Where they actually, you could probably say, I know your sister was working with her a little bit more and you were helping out with a little bit. I thought with your kindergarten last year, didn't you help out with the pumpkins? Purchasing, okay. Well, I know that they grow some of them out there, but they also bring some in from the store. So the kids all have some additional items and then they just do an ag unit based on the idea of following the pumpkins themselves. So I don't know all the exact activities that McKenna's gonna probably do because she'll vary it up from year to year, but they're trying to make sure they did get kids hooked on doing the different ag-related products and
At Agwood.
activities, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay, thank you. Move to the sped report.
All right, we have been doing our move-in meetings. So we have to do those within the first 10 days of school. So last year we looked at the calendar and adjusted our IEPs that are due in September and put them in May and June, just so we could make room for those. We currently have, there's a correction, 40 students on IEPs. We anticipate more students. We've got quite a few speech screenings to do. We still have our wonderful speech team, a new OT, and we've still got Jill, so.
Thank you. Right, any questions on the facilities report? What's going on with the soap dispensers in the new area?
Soap dispensers in the new area?
Yeah, he said something about the soap dispensers and he's looking at maybe getting manual ones if that doesn't get
He
resolved.
didn't share that part with me, I'm sorry.
Okay,
I'll double check with them on that part.
because they're brand new, so I was just trying to figure out what was going on with them.
Yeah, it just said they're gummed up in the mechanism, so I'll
Is that
double check
those
with them.
pumps that are in the sink?
So they're, the
Yeah.
automatic parts of them, so we'll see, yeah, because they're
Like, that's
down on
brand
the,
new.
yeah, I know. So, well, just because they're brand new doesn't always
I
mean
know,
they're
I
better,
know,
right?
I know, I know.
So,
I was just trying, because that is their job. Okay, I was just wondering, I didn't know if you knew. And then we lost a refrigerator out in the,
yeah, the one out there in the,
was that the one that we gave you guys a long time ago?
it may have been that one, yeah, so. We've had it for a while, so the ones out there tend to be a bit of hand-me-downs over the years, so it's, ones you never really want to spend some money on, but they
It
all
sounds
tend to
like-
go out after a few years.
He's looking for a small one.
He
Yeah,
is,
and
he's
they're
looking for
space.
a slider, but it's hard to find a slider that is that small, that fits in that space, so we're even looking at possibly reconfiguring the layout inside that room, but it's tough, it's a tight area.
And then the heat issue on the playground, you and I talked about it. I didn't know if you wanted to share with everybody with.
You're talking about, well, we discussed a little bit with it, you're talking about the heat on the
On the
surfacing.
equipment? Yeah, because it was really, really hot.
Yeah, you're talking about I think we talked about that last meeting.
Did we talk about it last
I think
week?
so.
I don't part. Okay.
Yeah, about
Maybe
how the
doing
surfacing around
science.
it, really hot, the ones.
Oh, on the
So,
side, yeah. Oh, we did talk about
Alright.
that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll move to B, spotlight on education. Oh, sorry. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
sorry, I'm just looking for.
No, I'm sorry.
So, football field, do they need help with getting the pods out every morning and the watering? Do you need?
Yeah, so the watering is this, so when the guys are putting the pods back out there, they're twisting them up, and then they're not going to check to see if they're twisting them up. And so, or they're forgetting to put them back out, and so when the timer goes off, they watered the track one
Yeah,
day. They didn't water it a few days because it was twisted. So we've discussed that with some of our coaches and players, and still twisted. And so he's looking at the cannon.
Okay.
So we have discussed that, and he's actually looked at it. I gave him a couple names. Brian, I actually told him to connect with you as well, and not saying you others don't have that knowledge, et cetera, as well, but I did tell him that you had talked about, you may have a place in mind too. I told him that there is a place that is in St. Paul also that's been nice to us in the past, and they're a pretty good place, and would give us good help as well, even though they, will give us a hard time. They are usually really helpful. So those were the places I suggested him. He said he was last week when he found it twisted again. He said, "I'm ready to look at that cannon now." I said, "Well, I think that would be a good idea." So, so that's where we are with that. But he is, as you've seen, he's been watering a little bit more still again.
Anybody else? Sorry, I didn't mean to blow those past you. Sorry. Anybody else? Okay. So move to spotlight on education.
Yeah, so last week, at the beginning of the week, I was talking with my son actually in the car about 9/11 coming up. And when I started talking about that, my daughter started talking about what they were doing in class and how they were going to be having some moments of silence, talking about, or during the day on September 11th to commemorate and talk about those key moments of 9/11 from 2001. And she started sharing with me some of the events that took place that day. Of course, I remember those events, etc., like a lot of you, or all of you. But I was impressed at what she was doing or talking about, and the knowledge that she had, and talking about Tower 1 and Tower 2, and knowing pretty much when they fell down and when they were attacked, and when the planes were taking off and why they took off. And when I was talking with her about that, I said, where are you learning all this? Because I know I've talked about it with you when you were younger, but you don't remember all this stuff from that. And she said, yeah, we're talking about it in class. So I talked with Mrs. Graber and asked her a little bit more about what they were talking about in middle school. And she shared with me the book that she reads of 7th grade. My daughter's in 6th grade, obviously, but she shared the 6-minute video that they have talking about a gentleman that had a red bandana from his father when he was younger, and how he went back up and had saved some people, and just some of the activities they were doing around 9/11. I really thought that was a really great opportunity for our kids that are younger to learn about that moment in our history and to remember what had occurred. And she shared with me a lot of the activities that they did throughout the middle school. And I just thanked her for taking a moment to do that. And I thought that was really meaningful, for our kids. And I thought that was really great for our school community and for our community as a whole to have our kids learn. So I wanted to say hats off to College Stabler Middle School for doing that.
That's really great.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll move to new hires and resignations.
Back over on middle school right there. So the first one was Kiati Mack. So she's been with us for quite a few years now, actually. She was helping out as a SPED IA and Gen Ed IA. She was also doing coaching as well. She had resigned the coaching a while this last spring. She was doing volleyball, but she is going to go run her own preschool classroom. So she'll be doing that now. So again, wish her the best of luck. So kind of have a little revolving door right now with some IA positions, but I know she wants to become a teacher, and this is a good opportunity for her to have her own classroom and And I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add to that or not. No. So I appreciate her connecting with Aaron and Christy and letting them know what was going on ahead of time and not just spraying it on them last minute. So that was really good for us and our kids that way. And then Ellie Solom, Mrs. Solom is not going to be doing track any longer. She's going to be doing, still the outdoor school, and she's going to probably be taking on the 8th grade trip part as well. And with that, she is also right now still doing volleyball. So she wants to focus on one sport and then those activities and make sure she's giving it the best, but also not overextending herself. So I can appreciate that. And so she wanted to make sure she gave her resignation so there was enough time for us to go ahead and post that job and make the transition for this coming track season this year. So thank you to Ellie for doing that the last couple of years.
Okay, we'll move to item D, the 2022-23 audit. Should be a handout from Acuity.
That's the same thing that
Yeah.
I emailed to you last week.
Because we're gonna actually take some action on this on item 6, but
Yeah.
do you want to kind of overview, or if anybody has any questions on some of the things in the letter?
Does anyone have any questions before we get there? What I sent out? This was our first year working with Acuity. It was a good switch, in my opinion. They were very helpful. The last people that we worked with, everything was sent, like Lori had already sent it all in before I took over. So there wasn't a lot there for me to do other than answer a couple questions, which they weren't very helpful with that when I had questions. But so that's one of the reasons why we switched. So this was really my first audit experience, and they were very helpful with that. So they did have some movement within their company. So the person that we initially had started with that was working on it had a medical leave, and I didn't know that for several weeks. So there was that little growing period in the beginning, but overall they were very helpful. I can email them. I did a couple Zooms with them. So the switch was really good. So if anyone has any questions, there is just the one that you'll take action on is the finding that it's basically saying that because we're a small school, we don't have our own CPA on staff. They are the ones that prepare the financial statements, which is essentially the audit and the financial statements within the audit. So, and unless we're going to go out and hire a CPA to work for our school district, that's probably always going to be a finding. So I was in touch with a few other small schools, and it's very common that they don't have those people on staff. So
We just didn't have this finding before. Are we discussing this in two different sections?
The one we have to take action on, because the plan of action is just that they're letting us know about that section of the letter where they were talking about the, how do they word it, severe deficiency?
Yeah, they-
Severe
Severe
deficiency, but
deficiency.
why has a previous audit not said that before?
that I don't know. I don't know if it's because it's a
normal.
different,
Yeah.
it's a different company. So the other company might not see it the same way that this
So when
company
you
does.
reached out to some of the other school districts that you reached out to that
That
Acuity.
use the Acuity, yes.
Yeah,
And they
so-
have the same
and,
finding.
and those
Dufer,
was it South Wasco?
I think, yeah, South Wasco, and then Wheeler County. Why can't I think? Is it just Wheeler County? What small schools in Wheeler County? No, I can't think.
What
Mitchell
does
Wheeler.
Falls City and St. Paul and all them do? Do they have a severe deficiency too?
Well,
I
so
don't know what
they don't use
company-
Acuity.
Yeah, I don't
So-
know what company they use. So I think that's the difference, is that the company that we maybe used before didn't see it the same way that this one does.
So-
Their recommendation is.
To do nothing.
To do
Right.
nothing.
Yeah.
And that's what I was
I guess
looking
a-
for in that
Yeah.
letter
It's more
was,
of a formality.
Yeah.
it is. Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
I will just say, and I know like I don't know what type of program you use, but it has been a thing that's maybe frustrated me is that we don't get like budget statement, like we get accounting, but we don't get a snapshot even quarterly of where we are in terms of the budget. And like there are accounting programs that do that very easily with a push of a button, and
We could,
It- I mean, and I know all of us that operate our businesses can do that, and so I don't know like what it means, because I don't know what the system you use, but you know, if you're using QuickBooks,
Right.
like, and we're not so big that, you know, we're too big for QuickBooks. So I do think this is something that I know I've felt like I've been frustrated as a board member, not being able to get, like, I had all those questions last budget cycle,
Mhm.
like not being able to get that look on just how we're doing as the year goes on. So I do think it's something we should maybe look into, even though they say like there's no recommendation.
So just.
Yeah,
the
I'll add that to
monthly
my, yeah,
percentages.
I'll add that
Yeah.
to my,
We used to get them.
So, and it wouldn't be like, it's just part of the program, I'd just say the
Yeah.
percentage of what we spent down, so it won't be like QuickBooks or
Yeah.
something like that.
mhm.
And so that would be
Maybe it's like
sufficient.
looking to see what we can do, that at least we're getting some look as, because it's hard for us to be responsible for like the financial situation if we aren't looking at what the, like,
How much we spent on each.
yeah, like what the
budget.
financial statements are.
Which
Yeah.
we should be able to pull with your program, because we have gotten.
We have gotten
It's
them
just a
before.
question of finding the right report to pull.
But those already
Yeah.
got that program.
I thought so too, now that you say that.
Which one was
Forecast
that? The forecast
Forecast
five
five,
thing?
so that we could have our percents, we could see.
This was a discussion years
Yeah,
ago.
correct.
Yeah, I think it would be, in QuickBooks, it's a statement of activities, I'm pretty sure, yeah. And probably in accounting
Yeah.
terms.
And I don't know what
And
you're
Forecast
using.
5 is something that I don't know if it was used. I wasn't shown it when I took over, and I know we have it, and that's one of the things that in the last couple of months I've been wanting to. I've seen more of what it can do, and I've been wanting to dig into that and see how to use it, because it's not something that
I bet it would
that
be
I
a
had been
very
using.
good
And it's
tool.
different than, so we have eFinance that runs some reports, so it's essentially running two separate things,
thought we
but
were
I
gonna
think
get
they
away
talk
from
to each other.
eFinance and just use
Yeah.
forecast. five.
eFinance is what we run our checks and all of that through. Forecast 5 just gives you reports. So I have to do
They work
everything in
together now.
eFinance, and they, yeah, and then they,
Get rid of one.
we upload into Forecast 5, so. But yes, I
So
will
you-
work on that before next month and have
Like
some reports, and
resources that
you guys can see what,
that you can call or
you
people
like.
get a hold of for that.
Yeah. yeah.
Yeah,
And there's some, they've had a couple of meetings that conflicted with, some other meetings that I had, but they recorded them, so
Okay.
there are some Zooms that I can watch for those, so. I'll have, some different ones, like I'll come up with some different ones that you guys can look at and see which ones you like and go from there for next month.
I mean, I just, the words were significant deficiency, I was like, whoa, this is a big deal.
Yeah, it was,
And
when
they're
I
telling
saw
us
it, it
to
was
do
too,
nothing.
and that's why I sent that, that's why I asked them, and they're like, and then they explained it to me and sent me the other small districts that had the same thing, and that's what they explained to me, is that if we're not going to have a CPA on staff, they're going to be the ones that essentially do the financial statements for the audit, so.
And we're not trying to belittle that statement either.
Right.
Katie or Trina, when I first saw that, I immediately called Cindy, and then I called Amber. So just know that we didn't.
And when I first
either,
saw it,
and
I
was
called
like,
them,
"What?"
and I was like,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
is this?
Because you see significant, right, and finding, you're like,
This is, so,
we've never
It's
seen this
not
before.
material though.
It's
so
not.
It's not a material.
and this is very common with small districts.
Say that again?
It's not material. So it would be worse if there was a material weakness. Those are worse words than this.
I don't know, I read it, it's like internal weakness, right? Internal deficiency and weakness. I was like, that means that the board's not doing their job looking at the numbers.
No.
I immediately sent Amber an email, oh no, what does this mean? Are we in trouble?
A material weakness is a deficiency, in a combination of deficiencies and internal controls. But we did not identify any deficiencies of the district's internal control that we consider to be material weakness. And that's important language there.
And
But-
one
but
of the
there-
things, like one of the pages has all of the things, like it
Yes.
explains what each
Yes.
thing is, and that also looked very like, I'd email them again, like when I was looking at it going, do we have all of these things? And they're like, no, it's basically like a definition of terms that they included in
Yes.
it. And so I was looking at all of the things going, all of these, like what
We
of
have
all these?
things for
Yeah,
you.
no, it's just a definition of terms.
I always
So.
look at the last paragraph in this letter when it's a significant deficiency is what do we have to do to correct it? And they're saying that they're not having anything that we need to fix. And so that was the important language I was looking for. I don't disagree with you wanting a snapshot. I think that's, and that would be good because I think it'll be helpful for you too.
What would material be considered? Like missing money?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that'd be bad.
Or, the process of cash handling or something like that, there was no separation of duties or something was a potential big issue in how you're operating financially.
Which is why we have the three of us. Like, that's why Vanessa helps with
Yeah.
some things
You can't have
because
the same person.
I
many
can't
times
do it
and
all.
you
And so she enters things and then Dan approves it, I approve it, and then she enters, like for the checks, and then I go in and approve that the checks can be printed. And so we
But
have it as about as separated as we can with the staff that we have. So
So this is really, and how I'm reading this is really saying that on a regular basis, we're not really generating financial statements internally, like, you could, but you don't have to, but it's a good idea, to do that. And really, we're operating on a cash basis. So it's kind of like, okay, what expenses do we have? What revenues do we have? But not considering assets, liabilities, other things, which is they're taking and modifying the cash basis in the audit. So, it's kind of what they have to say.
Yeah.
Is the way I look at it.
And it's because we don't have a CPA. It's not uncommon. When I worked for GMS, the same thing happened with other small districts too. So, not unheard of. Any other questions? All right, so, board goals. So I'm handing these out to you all. This self-evaluation packet, and then there was another one, wasn't there? Yeah, the DLT. And did your DLT team get together and do
Yeah,
this?
so we
Is there
had
anyone?
four of us that were able to connect with this, and because we got some movement with people, so.
Aren't we supposed to meet with them?
Well, yes,
Yes.
these were just draft, yeah, this was just draft things that we had. Some of those things haven't come out, like our numbers yet, et cetera. But those were just draft things that we just updated the dates, et cetera, so that's why it's a draft. Definitely, you guys would meet with them. If that
Yeah,
makes sense, yeah.
I thought that the DOT was them and us together.
That's right.
Oh,
Yeah, I just meant the staff members on it, that's what I meant.
Yep.
Sorry, I just meant, she asked were we able to meet those staff members, not everybody, because I couldn't meet with all of them to double check all the numbers and the dates and all that stuff. Because we don't have all that from the state anyhow. We can
So
update that for you guys.
Who's the board's on the DLT, who's our staff members on?
So Julia would be on that, Tracy would be on that, and Christy.
So we probably need to schedule a work session to be able to
Yeah.
go through all of this.
With them?
So would the October board meeting sometime around that work for you all?
I think we should try to plan it right before the next meeting, so it can all be, if that works for everybody. so that we can kind of all do it all at the same time when we're not down here multiple days. If that works for them, I don't know.
Does it work for everybody here?
Like on midday, like come in early for those.
Yeah, so instead of being at 6:45, we start at, what, 5:30? I don't know if people, is that gonna be too early?
Let's see, that would be on the
Let's see.
21st.
Yes.
Yeah, that works fine.
I'm gonna have to like come right from work to the meeting, because it's gonna be right up against, well, maybe not. Is that gonna be too early?
Well, it's not too early for me, I just, last time our DLT meeting took, an hour and a half.
And did you say
But-
5:30?
Yeah.
Do you want to do it on a separate date? I'm fine to do it on a separate
I would
date.
rather not meet multiple days,
Yeah, I'd
I'd rather
just-
not.
Yeah.
So last time we provided some meals, and if it took an hour and a half, I mean, we can do it at whatever time you guys want.
Oh, is it 5:30? Okay. Will that work? It's an hour and 15 minutes. I believe so. Will that work? Yes? All right, so let's do that. We'll say 10, 21, 5:30 for the DLT meeting. So if you all just want to go take these home with you, kind of look through these. This self-evaluation packet comes from OSBA. We've used it in the past, as a guideline, yeah. We've kind
I
of,
did mine, I thought that they were handed out, we are supposed to have them
No.
done and ready.
no, because we haven't, no, I figured if you guys want to take them home, we'll go over them. We'll go over this and go over them at the next meeting. But, we
We're
gotta keep
gonna
on
go-
top of it.
Yeah, usually we have a work session, so are we gonna do that too? Just a different time?
Well, I don't know if we need to do that at the same time or if we need to do it another time. Because we're gonna be pushing it, doing this that day. So either we do it another day or we come in a little bit sooner to do this part. What do you guys wanna do?
Is it the end of the world if we do it in November?
It's not.
Let's do it in November.
So we'll focus on this one first. Do the eval before the November meeting, which would be the 18th. Do you want to say the same time?
That sounds wonderful.
You're not gonna be here.
No, I am.
Oh, okay.
That would have been better.
Okay. All right, so 5:30 on the 18th for that one. Okay, so we'll put that aside for now. Is that on yours or on mine? And we'll move to item F, mental health program.
Didn't ask us to have them done today,
No, I'm sorry.
I got mine done last Thursday.
So with mental health here, we had Frances who filled a position like she had had before. She is now helping out as a SPED instructional assistant. And that leaves us with an opening there with our mental health. Looking at that with a comprehensive program, we have a couple different ways we can go. We can look at having somebody that we hire in our own position like we were trying to do, but I would definitely recommend we look at somebody that may have that therapist license, or school counselor license, I should say. Or we could look at doing something potentially with the county. There's advantages and some concerns with both. I think that, we've had some good wraparound services with the county before and had some good relationships with the county. I think that the thing that's been troubling was the amount of turnover that we've had with the county. I think that that's been troubling. Some of the staffing that we've had there has been a concern. And so that was one of the reasons why we looked at doing something different. But I also know that not having that full-time counselor, somebody without school counselor finishing their education with that was also problematic. So that's why I wanted to have that discussion with you folks tonight and see what direction as a school district we wanted to look at doing before we posted anything, or if we wanted to try to, I mean, there was somebody that they had that had been working with them for a while, as I put in that email to you folks. If we wanted to try to meet with that person and see if we got a good, had a good interaction with that person, if that worked well, or just go ahead and post the other one at the same time and see if we want to post that for our own and see, have that meeting and see if that worked out. And if it worked out, go that route. As Trina had put an email back, and we want to make sure we have the right fit, and maybe we look at both options at the same time, and maybe that gets us that right fit that you were talking about, Trina.
And the opportunity to, maybe somebody will apply that's an amazing fit, and then I would follow up with the county. I mean, you know, we're unique. School's not meant for everybody. So I think finding a school counselor that works well with our students, our families, our staff, I think is probably the key thing here.
So,
And I can't, I know we talked about this last year, year before, but, so, what would be the advantage for the county
advantage of the
position?
county, so.
It's just because they're better connected to other county
Some of the other
services
services,
beyond
that's-
what we have.
Yeah, that's one piece, and then if we had somebody on leave, it's really hard to fill that need. If we had somebody that, you know, goes on any type of leave, whether it's some type of parent leave, or if they get ill, they get in an accident, or any type of other need that may come about. That's one thing.
We
No,
did
if
find
they
though
leave
that
us-
when we needed that, they didn't necessarily have it.
And I understand that as well
Staffing
too.
for them has been difficult too.
Exactly, and that has been that in the past,
So how is this different from before? With
So-
the county? Is
So
this-
it's similar to what it was before,
Okay.
except the one, when I reached out to see where are they with things, you know, if the board wanted to go that route, is that something that was still offered? Was it not? I figured it would be, but I wanted to make sure I checked with Dana, who runs the program. And she said yes, and then that's when she told me about a gentleman that they had there that, like I talked about in the email, one of our other schools in our area had decided not to go that route because of a lot less enrollment. They didn't have the money to go forward with the contract. So that person was planning on being in a K through 12 rural school, and has been with them for 3 years. And wife works at the college, et cetera. And so she thought that might be a good fit. And so that's why she said, you know, I don't know if that's something you're interested in. And if you want to, you know, if you guys want to meet with the person and see if that's a good fit, that'd be great. But if not, we understand.
I think you should go look in every avenue you can and
Agreed.
And then the person we had before that was here for a long time, Carmen, she was actually the therapist level. So that's the one that's down below. So the individual therapy, you'll notice the first line of wellness room support versus individual therapy. They still help, like the wellness room support, they still will help students, you know, one-on-one and talk with them about stuff. But if it's more intensive individual therapy, then they'll actually have somebody from the county come and do some of the additional items. Dana has her certificate for counseling, so
does this other person have that?
this person would be the associate level. So this person did behavior support stuff at Central School District prior to working with the county. So I believe Dana said 2 years at Central School District, and then the county was able to hire him on, and then has been there 3 years in that role. I believe mostly in Dallas is what I heard, but maybe it was Central School District. And then was going to switch over. So, what's that?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
I think you should, I don't think you guys should pigeonhole yourselves. I
Yeah.
think you should look at all avenues,
Okay.
see what you,
So then the plan it looks like is we're going to post it as possibly hiring our own and then also reach out to county and see if we can meet with the individual and see if that's,
The nice thing about hiring our own is we hold the contract. That's always been kind of
that's a
our,
nice piece of it,
yeah,
yeah.
it is, so we're not stuck with whatever they're telling
I'm
us.
not a
it's a-
fan of going with the county again, but if you guys meet with the
Yeah.
person and say, this is a really good fit, we wanna do this, I trust you.
now if it is somebody that has their school counseling license, that person would be part of the certified bargaining group. Because they're a certified counselor because they have their license from TSBC.
Okay,
So,
I remember that from before.
all right.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you, I appreciate the discussion.
We'll move to item G, classified negotiations. I will let the classified group know that we have received their request to open their contract. And that will be in February, I think, is that what we said? February?
That's what it said in theirs, I
I
mean,
think it's the second, yeah, we have to
Yes.
meet by the second Monday in February.
Yeah, so
I
we
know
have
that-
received it.
we've usually met sometime around that end of January, beginning of February to set ground rules and
Right.
go on from there.
So I don't know if anybody,
It's in
I
the
know Jenny had mentioned she'd be willing to sit on that committee again. I don't know if anybody else is interested, but we have some time, so. give
I
us
was
some
just gonna
thought.
say, I
Did it.
Mhm. You and I did it. Okay.
And so you kind of started the first thought of that, the beginning of the sentence, but then you finished that.
Okay.
Well, I'd be willing to switch you, you could volunteer for the teachers next year.
Okay, so then we'll move to item H, student dress code. We'll be looking at trying to form a committee to go over some of the student dress code issues, if you want to do a little brief for the public, kind of what we're.
Sure, yeah, so I had a number of high school students who had submitted a petition that they were interested in reviewing the dress code with the school board and administration, maybe some staff, and that they'd like to proceed with that. And the school board had indicated in a previous school board meeting that they'd be willing to have that discussion and see what the students are thinking and hear them out and go from there. So they'd like to do that, so I'm looking or entertaining offers from a school board member or two to see if we could meet with the students and see if we need to form some type of committee or where we may go from there.
Do you have anybody who would like to jump into that? Jenny said she would be willing. Is there anybody else?
I would be willing to help again. They probably don't want me then.
Okay, well, I think we have a little time with that too.
There's two good laughing.
Okay, all right, so let's move to item 5, consent agenda.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
I will second.
So moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Items for board action, plan of action for the audit. Cindy printed this off for us, so these are our plan of action for the deficiencies due to size and staffing abilities of our district. We're unable to have staff to perform the task of financial statements, and the time frame for implementation is unknown. And at this time, Acuity is doing our financial statements for us. So do I have a motion to receive it? I guess it's just a receipt, right?
I think so.
Except to state that we've actually been notified by the audit
Mhm.
firm that we are aware of this. Although the recommendation
This
is,
is weird.
This is
I
actually
know it is
our plan, like, this is us notifying I think the Secretary of State of our plan of action.
any motions?
I'll move to approve the plan of action for the audit.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Oh, I would like to find a way to give the data, if not monthly, at least quarterly, that we're a little bit more, I would just like to do more. I'm not really okay with nothing. I'm not really okay with nothing.
Do you want to add, so who drafted this? Did Acuity draft this?
Yeah, they drafted
I
it
think
and
it's
then,
fine. I'm not
Yeah.
asking you to change it. I just want to make a
Yeah.
statement that I
Let's
don't,
not add to this.
I would like to, I don't want to add to this.
Okay, so,
I just don't love the idea.
Well, I
so
think internally.
implementing Forecast 5 and trying to get some of those reports generated. Is monthly too much, or do you want to look at it first and kind of?
yeah, I'll look at it and
Get
bring
back
it
to us.
to you next month, and
Okay.
if you want them monthly, we can see what, it might not change much month to month, it might
That's,
be more beneficial to have quarterly, but I'll bring them next month and then you guys can decide what you like and how often you want them. Because I'm guessing there are very different types of, because I know e-finance, one that I, right before, like right around budget time, that one that I did, I got all of that information from e-finance and kind of created that based on that information. It wasn't from, the information was from e-finance, but I did the sheet. So it's going to be very different than what Forecast 5 can generate. And it'll, so I'll just have a variety of things.
Okay.
They can, I'm guessing there will be a variety of reports based on all of the same information. It'll just be different things and different ways to look at it. So,
Especially as we get close to budget.
yeah.
It's just good for us to have seen as we go along, what areas we were spending in, what areas we maybe needed to have budgeted better, put more money, or that we didn't have enough of a cushion, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because when we get into budget, I'm always asking,
Yeah.
how much is left over in this budget? How much did we spend in this budget? And I just like, maybe we should know that.
Yeah.
When it talks about the internal component and that we're deficient, those words just kind of stung a little bit. And I was like, yeah, I need to pay better attention.
Yeah. So I'll bring a variety next month and then you can decide if you want them monthly or a combination of
Quarterly, or, yeah.
Oh,
every other
of
month,
those.
Cindy, it may be helpful, I can bring in like one that I've used like in previous jobs for like budgeting and
Mhm.
comparison, just to see if maybe like.
Yeah, and there was
example of something.
One of the threads I had just in the last couple weeks with this same question from someone in my group, and Forecast 5 was one of the ones that, or someone from another district that used Forecast 5. So she sent a few samples of different
Oh, okay.
ones
Yeah.
for that, and so I think it was Dayton. She and I started at the same time, and it was one of those, we have Forecast 5, but neither one of us had used, like, we just hadn't used Forecast 5 because we didn't really know what it could do. And so she sent us some samples.
As a board, we liked the reports that we saw and the samples we were given for Forecast 5. They showed you how much you were spending, what you were doing.
Yeah,
budget to
and I think I just,
Budget to actuals.
yeah, and I think I just wasn't shown Forecast 5, and so I was getting
There's
a
a
hang
lot
of the
to
other
it.
things. Yeah,
Yeah, it's complex, so you can pick and choose which information you want.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
and part of it, I think it wasn't set up e-finance, like the budget, which is one of the reasons that I started doing the budget document from e-finance. It wasn't used for the budgeting beforehand, and that's how it talks to Forecast 5.
Yes.
So it wasn't set up previously to that, and
They're
so,
supposed to work together.
yeah, so now that I've been using that with the budget information, it should be easier to talk to Forecast 5.
Mhm.
So before, like, Forecast 5 had no information when I first started it and went to a training for Forecast 5. I pull it up and there was zero information there, and I didn't know why, and it was because the budget system in e-finance wasn't being utilized. So now that it is, they should mingle together
Yep.
nicely.
That's
So,
how it was intended, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
yes, I will work on that for next month.
Can I ask, I was writing, who seconded Brian? Was it? Okay, thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously, and I will sign this for you, Cindy. Okay, patron input, we don't have anyone here. Any board comments? No? Okay. Announcements, dates of importance?
Cornfeed Open House coming up this Thursday. Quite the menu, so make sure you go on in. And then FFA Leadership Camp starting on Monday, homecoming dance on the 5th of October already. And then school board meeting with obviously a work session ahead of time now on the 21st of October.
Right, then we will adjourn at 7:50.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are they coming to pick apples?
Did McKenna not text you?
I haven't heard from anybody, but just in case I put all my ladders up and.
Yeah, I'm
Is it
gonna,
tomorrow?
I'll remind